chance to look over the minutes. I did have some corrections that I got to Leanne late this afternoon.
They've been done.
Nothing major, so.
So,
Moved by Cam, second by David, all in favor? We're at motion passed. Sheriff report.
I don't have a type up report. We had a rough month here in St. Francis, 2 issues. Hopefully resolved. One was the illegal dirt bikes on the city streets, which we were called to a lot. Hopefully through citations and stuff, I've noticed that has diminished and we're not getting as many reports of them. The second thing is dog at larges. We had overabundance of dog at large calls this month. We always seem to catch them and find the owner. Dan helped us catch one group and wrote citations to one of the owners for the dog. But it just seemed to be that's the 2 things that kept us hopping in St. Francis this month.
The dog at large citation that was issued for the individual who had 2 dogs running at large, were the correct fines put on the back of that ticket?
I made him stop by City Hall, check in to make sure it was, did he come in? Okay, he was gonna stop by City Hall.
I believe he did, that was Friday.
Friday?
It was
Okay.
right before 5 on Friday. Jen had called me as far as remembering how we had the fees.
Because it was
helping.
time number 2 or 3. He wanted to see if it was the second or third time
It was
this
the
individual's getting a ticket. So I told him to come by here. So,
Yeah, he did stop in and Jen helped him to get,
So he has the fines.
he should have.
Okay.
Other than
and
that,
then also to confirm how many
yeah,
previous
oh, yeah,
he had received.
Yeah.
So,
I think Jen, cause that was Friday, cause she called me, right before 5 to verify something, so I believe she helped him make sure that the correct fines were on there.
Okay.
Okay. And then other than that, we just had asked Cody to come to discuss the noise ordinance to see your thoughts, I guess, our thoughts, Lauren's thoughts on how we want to proceed, if we want to proceed with establishing a noise ordinance.
I'm of the opinion that we absolutely need to do something because we don't have anything to enforce when we're called to something. The majority of people, because people like to get along, when you tell them that being loud in their neighborhood is called, you don't have to go back a second time that night. But there is a small portion of the population that, and then they call your bluff, and what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I think we need to do something. The one thing, unless we're gonna buy decibel meters, I lean away from setting it by a certain decibel. So.
What's your thoughts, Lauren?
My thoughts are, we have to have an ascertainable standard, and we have to have some form of evidence to enforce it. My burden of proof in the court is beyond a reasonable doubt. So, I mean, if someone calls in, there was a complaint, I think, previously about noisy cars. Well, unless I have body cam footage with noise on showing that it's disruptive from a deputy, I'm gonna have, this car was really loud, my car isn't really loud. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that.
And I'm gonna tell you, one of the hurdles of that is, if you watch body camera footage, when you push the button to record, it's muted for the first 30 seconds of the video. So the first 30 seconds he gets in the area, it's intentionally muted. And then goes in, that's just the way the body camera, I guess, I don't know why they do it. They're not saving sound as they go, because they're constantly saving and dumping until you tell it, hey, I want to save this. And that first 30 seconds is muted. Well, 30 seconds doesn't sound like a lot of time, but when you come around the corner in a deputy vehicle and they see you,
Mhm.
30 seconds is enough time to shut the car off or turn the music down.
But the noise ordinance that we're talking about mainly is from dogs? Is it an ordinance that's
No,
It's across the board.
across the board?
Music, loud vehicles.
Because what would you recommend? Because
that's the issue is that, I mean, I have to have something that's enforceable. I mean, like Cody said, you know, we'd have to go get a decibel rater, excuse me. That would be sufficient evidence for me to bring to the court and say, look at what we have here. But I don't have, I mean, I have to have some form of evidence to be able to prosecute. And someone calling in and saying, hey, this car is loud, and then the deputy going and us not having either a recording of the vehicle or, I mean, it's almost like it falls on the person who wants to report it to record it and then make the, I mean, which I don't know that we need to put that, because then I have to subpoena them and they have to come in and testify and they have to attest to their recording. And I mean, it just gets messier and messier. So realistically, without a decibel meter that has a printout, I don't know. And I mean, obviously, what the noise level is acceptable at 3 p.m. is different than that at 11 at night.
That's why I would suggest that there was a time on it, because every mower in town is gonna violate a decibel. You know, any decibel you set. I just Googled decibel meters again. You'd have to look deeper what you can get a readout. So if they're anywhere from $20 to $300, but I guess you're probably gonna get to the more expensive ones to get one that will print off a readout, but,
Are we overpressing the issue if Cody says that most of the time you take care of it on the first time?
well, my problem is when you go back the second time, you feel, I mean,
You cited
Feel
a
helpless.
barking dog for a nuisance. Can you not cite that for a nuisance also?
Yeah, is there like a disturbing peace thing? Like you said, nuisance, something?
well, hold on, back to truck up for a second. So the main ordinances that you're dealing with, that the ones that are constantly causing the problems. Am I understanding correctly that it's probably the same small number of people?
yeah, and you have random ones, and I'll tell you, it's seasonal.
Sure.
You know, you have somebody having a backyard barbecue. Neighbor has to work early in the morning. It's 10:30 at night. They're still playing music loud. Those are the people that usually turn it down. You have, as you get closer to fair time, you have guys beating and pounding on derby cars in their backyard. You know, it's seasonal what's going on. Like I said, the majority of people do turn it down, but you feel inept when the neighbor calls 15 minutes later after you've gone and told them, hey, you guys need to quit making such a ruckus. They call back and say, hey, they stopped for 5 minutes and they're back doing it again.
Yeah.
You know, you show back up and you're like, you have absolutely no teeth to the warning that you just, I shouldn't say absolutes. I guess she's looking up things to see if we could do something. The barking dog falls underneath its own thing. If it's a neighbor's dog barking, we have an ordinance for that.
Right, but what I'm saying is that you previously escalated it, your department had previously escalated it from a barking dog under the ordinance and the code to a UPOC nuisance violation.
Yes,
So-
and I see the possibility of using that. I guess, my read on that was, maybe we should save that for extreme situations, because it is a misdemeanor. I mean, it's not a ticket you just wanna hand out because Bob's trying to get his mower fixed and he's really stubborn and really wants to get it done at 10:20 at night. You don't wanna, I mean, it's, that UPOC code is something you'd reserve for an extreme situation.
Would it be extreme, like, with the dirt bikes? That was a lot of your calls in town for the month of
Yeah,
using the
but
UPOC
there's
for
an
that.
exhaust law, there's laws that we could go on the dirt bike, that we don't have to use the noise ordinance. The majority, like I said, it's seasonal. Most of our noise ordinance are large gatherings that are playing loud music And there's a certain time of year where it's people working on derby cars. That seems to be a popular hobby in Cheyenne County. Those rack them up. And the other one is, I know this sounds stupid, but I bring up the more lawn care. You know, the neighbor, you know, it's still light out at 10 o'clock, and this guy's worked, 12 days in a row at the elevator, and it's 10 o'clock, he gets home and he says, I need to get my lawn mowed. And it's 10:15, he's out there mowing and his neighbor's trying to sleep. During the summer, we do get a lot of lawn care noise complaints, even though as early as 9:30, at night, but.
Not that it really matters, but is there any differing factors that weigh in if someone, say Bob is working on his car at 10 o'clock at night on his property, as opposed to somebody on a city street?
My opinion, no, because the sound is audible and is traveling past their expectation of privacy. Would that be
I mean,
fair enough to say?
that's something for the council to determine. I mean, you have a level, people do have a level of autonomy on their own property. So, I mean, it's different to have, I mean, I understand it's also disturbing, but it's disturbing one or two people if you're on your own property having music, as opposed to if you're driving around town blaring music, waking
The whole town up.
300 people up. I mean, there's got to be some level of a distinction there. And I mean, if that's a the council wants to come up with a noise ordinance by time, at such and such time, it shall be prohibited, it shall be.
Now, I thought about this when Amanda first talked to me about it, and then discussing where I live, there's a certain time of year. Are you gonna go write St. Francis Equity a ticket for running their fans? Because they're gonna blast any decibel level. You can hear them at the courthouse at 1 o'clock in the morning, running their grain dryer fans. Like I said, it sounds simple on the surface, but it's not.
agree.
When
You can get into the weeds real quick.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess to that effect, we may want to consider what would be a mitigating circumstances, because I know for a fact, sometimes when you can hear the elevators run, especially like down in my area, it will cause dogs to howl, it will cause a dog to bark. And so, while I understand that, you need to be keeping your dog quiet, particularly at 1 a.m, you can bring a dog in the house, and I don't have a husky, but I've heard, you can hear a husky 3 blocks away.
Yeah.
So, the owner brings it in the house, tries to mitigate what's happening. I don't know.
Just like anything, there's a level of reasonableness, but sometimes reasonableness always doesn't carry the day, and almost like you have to have black and white on it.
And this is a subject because it's hard to have a black and white.
Right, because, that's the thing. The elevator can be heard from however many blocks away. The pool can be heard from however many blocks away. The music there can be. I know when there's private parties, they sometimes go until 9:30 at night. Is that correct? It's going to be difficult to say, the pool can play music until 9:30 at night, but Joe Blow can't be tinkering on his.
So,
If you issue a citation, do you have to go to court over
I have to prosecute it if they don't pay it.
if they don't pay?
If they don't pay it, but that's the thing is that, half the time, Cody, I'm not trying to be mean, but half the time the deputies don't know what they're doing. We have had multiple tickets that say "see judge" on it when the fine is clearly defined by ordinance. There have been multiple times where they say, "Now here's your ticket. If you want to fight it, go." Presenting it like that, if you want to fight it, all they hear is, "I can fight this." And so, there are a lot of cases where, we have body cam footage of the incident taking place, and they come in and say, "Well, the deputy said I could fight this." So, and I'm not trying to throw the guys under the bus, but if you give someone an option to do that, they generally want to fight it. And so, I mean, if we say it is, I mean, and it's their right. It is their right to come in and try and fight it. And it is my job to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this action occurred, which is why I'm really glad that we have the body cam footage, because I mean, especially with the dog at large, I can usually pop it in, hit play, there's a dog running down the street. Exhibit A.
Sounds like it's really tough to police all of this.
I mean, and it's very difficult for the deputies. Like I said, I mean, I think that they're, God bless them, trying to do what they can, but they're responsible for our ordinances, Bird City's ordinances, the state statutes, and the county I mean, anything that happens at the county level, plus all traffic offense. I mean, it's a lot to keep straight. And I know you were talking about DigiTicket, and I know that's a whole thing, but I mean, from my side of it, because there is so much from them, it can create an issue on the court side of things, which is why I was asking about the dogs at large running, if we knew what the back of the ticket said, because that was a prime example of, we had to get body cam footage, we had to watch it, we had to get a TV in here, we had to be able to show the court, which I'm glad we did, but all of this it was written "see judge" rather than $25 fine. So we had to go through this whole process, and it cost the city prosecution costs when it could have just been $25 written on the back of a ticket. And so, I mean, I think that it's their right to fight it. But I think that if we are going to say that it needs to be in place, it needs to be very clear what the fine is.
Did we not talk about 4 or 5 months ago in one of our meetings, do we not bring up the subject of designating a place for pound and then the possibility of looking into in the future of someone who would be responsible for this one matter of dogs? Did we talk about that, or am I dreaming?
Didn't we?
You're talking about hiring somebody to
Correct.
just handle the
Yeah.
enforcement?
Ultimately, I think that would be the best solution, but again, yeah, I talk about at least 1 more position or 2 more positions, and I don't know if that's feasible.
And you might go 5 weeks without having a dog complaint,
Right.
you know, and then you'll have 5 in 2 days. You know, that's just the ebb and flow of it. But on the noise, it's just, I guess we could go to the extreme of the nuisance ordinance. But like I said, that's an extreme ticket. If there was something more malleable for somebody that, you know, it's not a misdemeanor, it's,
Why not just a noise ordinance about disturbing the peace or whatever, and then it's at your discretion. If you have to go back a second time and they pay this fine. They set a time on it or something. Make it all the deputy's discretion.
yeah, because, you know,
You don't want a misdemeanor for something that might be definitely not worthy of one.
mhm.
That'd be ridiculous.
I
I
mean,
don't think anybody's ever called in the elevator.
No, I've never had anybody called in, but like I said,
and I
you
mean,
don't notice it during the day. You
Right.
probably don't
Right.
notice it because you're shut down for the night, but you're out here at 2:30 in the morning and you're getting out of your
Yeah.
vehicle to walk in the courthouse,
You hear that
and it's
noise.
you're like, man, I can't believe that's that loud.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
So you get used to it.
you get used to it.
so if we were to do something like that, would that be some, I mean, I guess what I would suggest in that instance is basically if there's 1 complaint, it's warning. At a second complaint, if the officer determines that the noise level is causing a disturbance of the peace for the immediate surrounding area, I guess is how we could word it.
And then do you want to put something in
Well-
where it's different for commercial, zone commercial and residential?
We can, but what I was going to say is, what I'm gonna need from your guys is when you get called to that, you need, I mean, if it's at 301 South Benton, I don't know what the addresses are, if it's at 301 South Benton, it's gonna take you less than 30 seconds to get there. I need your guys to turn on their camera the minute they get in that truck.
Mm-hmm.
And I need them to go, so I have audio recording, and then they give them a warning, and then if it goes back the second time, I need them to turn on their body cams when they get in their truck, so they can go up there, and I have audio recording of that, and so I can say, here is where it was, they gave him a warning, here's the second time, you can hear the music, you can hear the car, you can hear the mower, whatever it is. I mean, I'm gonna have to be able to prove that.
Yeah.
So whatever,
Well, and Leanne had gotten some stuff from other cities, and I mean, I'm sure we don't have to recreate the wheel. but
No,
stuff
we don't
that's
have to.
Out there, and the stuff that she found that we did.
I think Kel hit the nail on the head. I think we just have to approach this from more of a common sense perspective. Maybe you and the guys can just have a 15-minute meeting and just say,
well, so what I was gonna suggest is that, I mean, if this is the direction we wanna go, why don't I pull from those ordinances what I think is applicable to what we've discussed today, put in any language that we have discussed that may not be in there, or modify the language that is in there, and I can present it to the council at the next meeting. I'll send it to you, and before I do that, I'm gonna send it to you and have you take a look at it and speak with your guys on it, because I need to know if it's something you can enforce. Because, I mean, there's no point in the council enacting it if you can't enforce it and I can't prosecute it. So, and then the other question I have is, since it's going to be an infraction and not a misdemeanor or anything else classified like that, do we want to set the fine? Because the way that it's set in the ordinances is that anything that does not have a set amount can be up to $1,000 or 6 months in jail, which seems a bit excessive for music.
I think you do it the same way we do with property cleanup.
Yeah, okay.
First time is 25, whatever, and second time's 50.
yeah, I just don't want Bob, who, like he said, he's worked 12 days straight, and he's come home and his yard's a mess, he just wanna go out and mow his yard. I don't want him getting fined for going, just trying to go out and mow his yard. So we're gonna have to figure out a way
Yeah,
to,
it's just,
Well, that would be their discretion.
Yeah, I've shown up to people mowing their lawn, the neighbors called and, you know, they're like, oh man, I'm just about done. And you're like, all right, you know, I'm gonna circle the block. It better be done when I come back around. But like I said, that's officer discretion of, cause you look at it both ways, you know? You don't wanna live next to that, you're trying to get your kids to sleep.
Right.
But you also live the other thing, because everybody who works for me, you know, every 2 months we switch shifts, and you're on the graveyard shift, and you're working from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. and, you know, on your days off, guess when you're awake? Because you trained your body to be awake from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. That's when you're awake, and that's when you change the oil in your car, and that's when you know, you paint the outside of your house, because it's weird as heck when somebody drives by and you're painting your house at 1:30 in the morning, but that's when you trained your body to be awake. So it's, you know, I've been on both sides of that. So
And if we kind of let the people know, if when we decide.
it's the grievous ones. Like I said, when you have music blaring and you show up, and the first time it's, you know, hey, turn it down. It's when you have to go back. That's when it's a problem. And you know, when somebody's working on their car or something right underneath their neighbor's window in a shared driveway or something, you know, that's,
Yeah.
you know, and you go back again and again and again. It's, but I definitely think that there needs to be some zoning to it because of things like the grain dryers or, you know, a concert at the park. I don't know what the park is zoned at, but I mean, you have residential right across the street to the north, but there needs to be, I think there needs to be some zoning to it, because you could create more sound and not disturb as many people if you're working at Western Auction, which is in city limits, than compared to, you know, if you were working at 301 South Business. I don't know even who lives there, but we keep.
I don't even know if it's a real address.
But,
I was
you know,
just trying to figure out
you know
like
what I mean? It's gonna be-
where is
there's-
within 3 blocks of the courthouse.
There's gonna be different, you know, somebody out by the storage units doing something's gonna be different than somebody
Yeah.
on,
Well, again,
Jackson
in those
Street.
situations, who's gonna be complaining? Probably nobody.
No.
So, again, it goes back to the discretion,
Mhm.
so.
Sounds like we have a solution going forward to,
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll work on that and get that put together. I'll email it. You want me to email it to you, or you want me to email it to Cassie?
Email this one to me.
Okay, I'll send it to you, you look at it, I mean, if you notice something on the face of it, let me know. Run it by your guys, and then if they see something that, cause I mean, I don't do what your guys do, I mean, I see it on the other end once we have it, and so, I mean, I want this to be workable for them, I know they have a lot on their plate, and so, I mean,
Look,
this needs to be workable.
the whole idea is, whether you can't rely on one smoking gun as your problem cause. Maybe they've turned it down as you pulling up and your body camera's not picking up the sound outside of the vehicle, but you go up there, hey, I had a complaint, your music was a little loud. Yeah, we were playing the music, now you got a confession, a consensual confession, there's other ways to build that PC than just I heard it a block away when I was coming, which is kind of what I used to gauge it by. If I could hear it when I'm on the same block as the complaint with my windows up in my vehicle, it is definitely too loud. It's not somebody just being a nitpicky neighbor. If I'm cruising down my patrol vehicle, my windows up, and I hear, I'm like, yeah, it's way too loud.
So how do you handle that situation? If someone's, they are technically in violation, however, it's a really nitpicky person who's making that same call over and over and over. How do you,
So a lot of the job is trying to find a compromise between two people that can't get along. And you don't have to turn it off, but can you turn it down? And then they'll tell you about how their neighbor always complains about everything they do. It's like, I'm sorry, man, but all I'm asking for, you have it on 7, turn it to 5, and we'll be happy. Then the neighbor calls back, it's like, well, he turned it down. It really wasn't all that loud. He turned it down. He's got a right to listen to music in his garage at 11:30 at night while he's playing darts, which is right. He turned it down, so, and then you get yelled at by one or the other, but.
This is a prime example of this is what I brought in here a while ago, and I let the council know, we basically had two people trying to go tit for tat, calling the sheriff's office on each other, and I finally said, look, I'm gonna prosecute you both, or I'm gonna prosecute neither of you, pick. And they decided that, at least as far as the city part was concerned, they would knock it off. I don't know if it's still going on in the county, and obviously we're not gonna say who it is. There were two people basically trying to call one after the other. And I just said, look, I'm gonna throw the book at both of you and get you on every single thing we can, both of you, or I'm gonna drop, or you need to figure it out, the two of you. And so, I mean, a lot of times it becomes that. And, I like to think that, I mean, in that case, Cody communicated with me what his deputies, had done and what they found in this situation and what was going on. And there was something else going on over at the district court that I was unaware of, but they knew about. And so I was able to come to council and say, hey, look, this is what's going on. This is what I think it is. And it's going to be a waste of city resources to continue this. And so, I mean, I do think it's going to require communication.
And some people don't like being told that just because you called 911 doesn't make you in the right. So.
It's actually making an unlawful request for emergency service assistance.
Yeah.
If they call too many times.
Mm-hmm.
It is in there, so.
spoken like a good attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we have a good solution going forward, and unless anybody has any further discussion and or questions for Cody. If not, to have a motion to accept and file the sheriff report. Moved by Darren, second by Kale, all in favor? Okay. Please stick around, or you out of here?
Unless you need me to.
Nope.
All right, thank you guys.
Yep, thanks,
Appreciate it.
Cody.
Thanks, Cody.
Alrighty, Janet, Minnie, you're up. You're up.
Just like that. Do I have to stand like?
You don't have to, you can do it, you can sit, you can stand, you can dance, we don't care.
So, in case you don't know me, I'm Penny Riley, and I, now that I'm retired and moved back here, I do a lot of digital art. I don't know if you've noticed, but next to the grocery store, there's the old gun shop. It says the studio, and this spring I'm going to probably start opening it and selling digital art. I tell you that because I made, this design, and I showed it to Janet, and she says, oh, 202 needs to sell, or use that image, you know, on maybe, we might do it on mugs, we might, you know, do it on a certain things for marketing. We don't need your, permission to use this, cause it's marketing, I think we're free. It's my design, but a number of other people have seen it, and this is the embarrassing part, but they said, the city needs to see this. Okay, city, you see it? If you want to use it, you can, you don't have to say anything to me here, but if you have anything, that you know, something like this that might work for you, I'd be more than glad, free, I won't charge you, so, yeah. But it really looks pretty good because it stands out, I think the colors are really good and bright, so that's it.
I like it.
I do, I like it.
Yeah, I do too.
How long have we had our other one?
Do you have anything you want to add?
The actual city.
No, I
logo.
think it's a clean, beautiful design, I love it.
I have to, if you can ask me a question, because I'm a little hard of hearing.
No, she had just asked how long we'd had our other city logo, and I don't think we really need this for our city logo, because we have our own.
Do you have a seal? Do you have a,
We do,
like
and
on your website or something?
We do have a city logo, and I know that
Yeah,
we have.
t-shirts, yeah.
T-shirts,
Yeah,
something that
yeah.
to be updated to.
I don't know, because, I mean.
Well, you
We
don't
have
need
it
to
on
talk
everything.
about it now and
Right.
waste your time, but just know that it's available. I mean, yes, I made it, but I do think it works really nice, because,
Is our logo the triangle, I'm sorry, is it the diamond?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
what's nice about this is that it's a nice square, and a lot of designs today are square, but yet circles, like when you do your avatar on Facebook or something like that, it ends up being a circle, so that's kind of another reason. But I made it so it's square if that had to fit a certain template,
Gotcha.
okay?
Yes, perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks, Denise.
I'm
Thanks.
so embarrassed, but.
No,
No, you're
you're
fine.
good.
Thanks, man.
She made me do it.
I made it.
Yeah.
I like that it coordinates with your scarf.
Yes,
Oh, it does.
yes.
That was not planned.
That was
See you guys.
Very good,
Thank
Margaret.
you. Yes, have a good evening.
Hope your nuisance sound works
Yes.
out.
Me too.
You got everything?
You guys try to be quiet.
Well, try.
You guys might be the first
We're
people.
gonna roar our engine as we leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, Janet can get pretty loud.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you, ladies.
Special event and rental application for the alumni celebration for the band show. Typical.
I need to talk to Kale on that, because if I'm reading this right, he wants to block the streets like we do for Concert in the Park, between the band shell and the bank. And then on the other side, which we definitely need that one, but then he's also wanting to do between the basketball courts and the park, that street there too. But then right down here, he says, need parking on west side. So I need to talk to him and see what he's actually talking about with that, because
Wonder if they, like, if they have,
Maybe for vendors or something.
yeah,
there won't be any vendors.
there won't be any vendors.
The only thing that I can see that would really need blocked off would be the east side. I don't think we blocked it off last time. I don't remember though.
I could just see blocking it off for people walking back and forth through the restrooms.
The restrooms, yeah,
Mhm.
that could be too.
Yeah, I can see that.
So other than a clarification, I don't see any issues with it.
Is that a motion?
I can't do it because I've been helping out with a lot.
Second.
By Cal, second by Larry, not Larry, David, sorry, all in favor. Motion passed. Trash waivers, 100 East Washington. And that's,
Nope, can't do that one.
See the smile just come on.
they And 100 East Washington is a renewal,
That
correct?
one is.
Yeah, JR's is a renewal, and then 405 South Lorraine is
Is,
a new one.
yes,
Mhm.
that's the revision for the food pantry.
Oh, yeah.
For the food pantry?
Yes. To go under the actual property owners.
So,
Moved by
Second.
Kale, second by Larry, all in favor? Okay, motion passed. Property cleanup.
So I had sent the deed. Mr. Morris said that he was agreeable to quit claiming the property on 4th Street to the city. I had sent the deed. We have not received it back. I haven't received it back yet. Have you? Okay, we have not received it back yet. But he did communicate that he is an over-the-road trucker, and so there will be spans of time where he is not home. So, if I haven't heard anything, I mean, I think he had said he can be gone up to several months at a time. Was that, I think, what
2
he...
or 3, yeah.
So, I have it flagged for follow-up in May, because that will be, I have it flagged for follow-up at the end of May, because I sent it February 15th, and so I'm going to give it 3 months, and then at the end of that 3rd month, I will follow up with him, because just since he communicated that that's not an unusual thing for him to be gone, I will follow up at that point. We had sent the follow-up letter to Mr. Howard regarding the property on 3rd Street. They mailed back a packet to City Hall, to my attention, explaining that it appears that the owner, Clifford Howard, passed away quite a few years ago. His estate was probated in Colorado, but nothing was done here in Kansas. They're asking what they need to do in order to get that transferred over and what they need to do to get it up to code. Obviously, I cannot advise them what they need to do to get it transferred over, as I represent the city with getting it up to code. So I asked Dan to provide me a letter of what needs to happen with the house to get it up to code. I just got this tonight. I'm gonna take a look at it. It looks good. I would like to format it a little differently, but all the information I need is here. And so I'm gonna do that, send it to Dan for his review, and then I will refer them to an attorney that can help them get that into their names, while still maintaining that this is what needs to be done to prevent a condemnation proceeding from transpiring. That's what I have for property cleanup. I only had one, sorry, I had one other thought, not pertaining specifically to properties that are currently done, but I think we've discussed it before, and I just wanted to kind of bring it back up because we're getting into property cleanup season. I mean, generally we have a ton in the summer months, and then we don't really have any in the winter months because it's winter. I don't know how you can ask someone to paint their house when it's snowing. So, we generally have a lot of property cleanup in the summertime, and something that I get very frequently is, well, why are you doing this house and not that one? Why are you doing this and not that? And I think that you probably get that too. And so, it had been brought up before, and I guess I just wanted to kind of revisit this with the council, if maybe it would be prudent and we should install a procedure where, like a quarter of the city is done at a time. Like we split the city into quadrants, and for this month they drive around and take pictures of, because it usually happens over the summer. So for April or May or whatever month we want to start, they drive around and take pictures of this quadrant, and we get those letters sent out. And then June they do this quadrant, July they do this quadrant, August they do this quadrant. And so it's just, rather than it being, oh, we're gonna do one here, one there, one over, it's just, they take one day or an afternoon, I don't know how long it would take you to drive through one quadrant, take pictures of the houses that appear to be in violation, get them to Leanne so she can send out those notices. And I just think that it would be, I think it may alleviate some contention, I guess, for why are you doing one house here, one house there, but you're not looking at anything over in this area. And I mean, it's obviously up to council for any procedures they want to put in place, but I think doing it that way may ease the burden on some city employees that I know have been, without wanting to say accosted, confronted regarding the selection of properties.
And I think that would work. The problem is if you're in this quadrant and you have a really bad eyesore over here, you're gonna have to address it. You can't wait till you get 3 more quadrants around the, and you're 2 or 3
Right.
months around. Like, I feel like that should work with the exception of you have an issue, you're gonna have to address it.
Right. No, I'm not saying we can't do it until then, but just so, I mean, if there's one house that has, I don't know, it doesn't have shutters anymore, for want of a better term, if there's one house that has shutters that are looking a little rough, they need to probably be repaired and painted and whatnot. I mean, that's different than the person running a junkyard on their lawn. I mean, the shutters can wait till we're in that quadrant, the junkyard obviously cannot. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that might, Dan, would that be helpful to you?
I can do it however, I don't mind.
The reason that I bring it up is just, I think some of the other things concerns that have been brought either in court or to me in trying to work with these people to get it back in compliance is why you're picking and choosing houses, you're not just, and so to have this procedure would say they drove this quadrant, like if the house is not in this quadrant, we will address that quadrant when time comes. I mean, obviously, as long as it's not, weed 6 feet tall and a junkyard in the front yard, we'll address this time when the quadrant comes. But I know a lot of what we have had is, how are you picking and choosing these specific houses? And largely, it's, I think, the ones that are the biggest problem get addressed first, as well they should be. But I think that saying, we drove through and these are the houses that we identified as a problem in this quadrant. We drove through and these are the houses we identified as a problem in this quadrant. We have a procedure that we can explain, this is how we're doing this. And I mean, if somebody knows that we're driving around sending letters out and they get their house cleaned up, then great.
So if someone comes to you and say, why are you picking on me and not them? Telling them because we like them, we don't like you, does it work?
It does sometimes,
Just wondering.
depends on who it is.
I mean, the amount of times that someone sits in court and their defense to my property looks bad is, well, so-and-so's property also looks bad. I mean,
And I think part of the previously was in the springtime, Jared would go around and pick 20 or 25 of the worst ones, and the council would pick so many so it wasn't so overwhelming. If we start nitpicking everybody in this quadrant, that's
Right.
within violation, we're gonna be overwhelmed with property cleanup. And I think we kind of still have to have some sort of a knock off the worst ones first and then knock down to the less
Right.
severe ones.
well, so would that be, I mean, I guess in April, like late April, early May, when it starts to be able to be time to do it, would that be something that you and your guys could do, is go identify houses that you think are out of compliance, and then at either the last April meeting or the first May meeting, the council determines which ones we want to deal with, then Leanne can send that out, and then we can start prosecution in June if they don't get it cleaned up. I mean, is that agreeable?
When did you agree to do the 4th Wednesday?
Yeah.
Of the month, is what we were doing last year.
Right, so that they could review it,
Right.
the 4th Monday of the month, decide which ones they wanna do, and then they would let her know at that meeting, and then she would have 2 days to get it out. I mean, and if I don't know if you have to do month end, if the second Wednesday would work better for you. I'm sure the council wouldn't, I mean, as long as they're going out and we're following proper procedure, I don't know that you care whether it's the second Wednesday or the fourth Wednesday. Because if I'm being honest, the second Wednesday would actually, because that third week is when we have court, if we can do it on the second Wednesday, then at the end of the month, we can have them served that fine if they haven't done it. We have them served that complaint and they can be in court, whereas if we do it, we have to wait till the whole following month. So we're at 45 days before they're seeing the municipal court. I mean, would that be, if we have it ready for the first meeting of the month, you guys determine which ones they're doing, and then by that Wednesday, is that too much?
No.
Because I think that would be the most efficient. And then we can just say, if you have a question, come to the council meeting and you can take it up with them. That sounds great to me, Dan.
That's what I tell them anyway,
So,
talk to the council.
Do you have any input, Dan, on property cleanup? Do you have any?
I didn't get the pictures, no.
What about the one on Fourth and Francis?
Is that the one Scott was talking about, up
Got
behind,
trash all over.
up behind the liquor store?
Uh-huh.
That's horrible.
That one I think needs to be addressed. Behind the liquor store.
That's what I said.
We talked about last month.
I think it needs addressed. I think a letter needs to be issued.
all right.
The
So-
wall's coming out of the back of the house.
What's that?
The wall's coming out of the back of the house.
Oh, it wasn't like that before, but it's really coming out, yeah.
All right. So, is council giving, I guess without seeing it, Dan is to take pictures, give them to Leanne, and Leanne is to send a letter?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
I
perfect.
mean, there's a trailer.
We don't need to bring it to, I mean.
No. It's
It's
trailer in the backyard with trash overflowing.
It's go
there's
time,
trash
okay.
bags everywhere. Yes.
It's go time.
Yeah, it's definitely go time.
All right, perfect.
Nothing else on property cleanup and projects pending. Anybody have anything?
Do we have any updates on the band shell that we talked about last month?
He has that.
So there is, on the shared drive, I put a
Which we talked about that at the last meeting.
Right.
Yeah, we can talk about that later if we need to.
I think that's part of his report.
Okay.
we can do it now, it doesn't matter. They just put it in there for I did. It's the 16-162 that we talked about, and I did ask them how long. They said weather permitting 8 weeks. No, 8 days.
You say 8 weeks.
Yeah, 8.
That's a very long time.
Sorry, 8 working days
Did they give, have you talked to them again?
for the fountain and the seats.
The fountain included?
So let me know when is the alumni again?
Third weekend in June.
Yeah, third weekend.
Anyway, it could be done by then.
Weather permitting. If we pull the trigger, I mean, I guess, I don't know how soon they can come out. I need to call
That
them
would
and make
be
sure.
amazing if you have it done by then.
When is that week?
Alumni is the 17th of June.
I can call them and ask them.
Okay.
If
If
we
we
just find
decide
out
to
what
do it.
what they think their time frame or what they might be able to work out.
I don't know if we had to still talk to Greg and Kite on that, or before we pull the trigger.
I can reach out. I don't know if I have his contact, but I can call the mayor and reach out and see.
I wouldn't think we would because we're not really changing anything.
We're just
We're not changing structurally. I guess from what I've been told about that side of things.
I can check with the mayor and see. Try to get his contact. I don't think.
Do you just
That
want
would
to
be-
find
that
out
would be
if they could be out here by,
Just find out what their
If they
schedule
can get it
might
done
be,
by then, then
if you could.
and then tell them we'll make a decision later, as far as whether they're coming and doing it or not.
Well, I thought we'd already decided on
I
that.
don't think we ever motioned to spend that money.
I think we were leaning that way, but we didn't ever vote, did we?
We didn't vote, so we wanted to know time frame and then kind of, I think. we
If there's any
probably should
additional
touch on
pricing,
phase.
yeah.
I have his email, but I can sure email or get it from Scott.
that's pretty much the same price that we talked about last month.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know it included the fountain last month.
Yeah, 61, 62, and, yeah,
Or maybe I did, I just didn't realize it.
band shell seats and water fountain stuck over
Okay.
there. I know, I suppose I need to get ahold of the other guy and tell him we're not gonna have him say on the list. If that's, I wanna make sure, but I know we hadn't made a motion yet, so I hadn't pulled the trigger
So if
on
we
it.
make it contingent upon talking to Greg to make sure there's no.
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously not gonna be out here in the next 2 weeks, we could obviously just table it to the next meeting, right? I mean, or do you need to know? Cause it's gonna be contingent on
Bill, I can find out when they can come out and just tell them to make a
decision at the next meeting.
Just
Yep.
some way we can let them know.
If we can get it
Change it
done before
upon
then,
it, if we can get it done before then, we'd like to have that done.
and contingent on what Greg says. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's just table it to the next meeting and you can
Okay.
follow up and I'll follow up and.
Okay.
Okay.
Crossovers, so you hear from the attorney?
Yes and no. As far as the crossovers,
Probably executive session.
yeah,
Okay.
if we discuss that.
Yeah.
Anything else on project spending? Street project. All that is just information.
Yeah, all of the documents under the streets is just for you guys to have as reference. That was the bid time extension, that was signed and approved. It was, them stating that, yes, it had gotten pushed back for the 1 month to be under contract with the general contractor. And then there is also out there, the stormwater permit, that got approved as well.
So we don't need to do anything on that.
No, we don't need to do anything on there. It's just for your guys' knowledge.
Okay. Full report?
A quick clarification, for alumni, they do wanna block both sides, just so everybody knows.
Okay.
I'll just be point blank, I don't know if we're gonna be able to open the pool at this stage. We don't have enough applicants, we've got 3 applicants at this point, we're crashing hard and letting people know that if you don't apply, we're not gonna be able to do this.
What do you attribute this to?
Wages or?
Wages,
Some people say wages.
I think it is wages.
I think that's just a portion of it. I think it's the generation of kids too. We have discussed about upping wages. I don't wanna bring that up in open meeting. In fact, it might be a good idea to just do a quick executive session on that tonight. I can tell you where we're sitting on that, but, we, have extended the applications till like the 7th of April, but I think if you guys are agreeable with it, I think we need to put something out there that if we don't get applicants, we can't open. Bird City's running the exact same problem. Other than, I think they've started, once they pushed that point, they've started getting some applicants over there. I don't know, we're literally somewhat at a loss right now, because we can't justify opening it. We're looking at reduced hours, but we've also gotta look at the expense to the city to open it, get it going, get it heated, chemicals and everything.
Do you normally have pretty much everyone hired by this point?
Normally we do, interviews the week of spring break.
And managers?
I'll bring that up in executive session too.
Should we just have one now, you think, or
We can.
carry on with our schedule maybe?
right?
We can. Somebody,
I mean, that's fine.
can you make a motion? Non-elected personnel. I don't know, is it all right if I do it?
Yeah.
Make a motion that we go into executive session for 5 minutes for the purpose of non-elected personnel, with everybody in the room.
Subject
For
matter
hiring.
compensation. Subject matter compensation.
Or hiring.
Compensation and
Yeah.
hiring.
Go hand in hand.
Who do you want?
Everybody.
Everybody in the room.
So moved by Larry, second by Kale, all in favor? Alright. Alright, we're out of executive session, no decisions made. Anything else with full report?
No, I'll keep everybody up to speed, and then as soon as we hear something, hopefully we'll hear something in the next 2 weeks, as far as getting a better feel on things, and, we do have, the 3 applicants have got prior history, and we won't have any problem getting somebody to, not necessarily be in an assistant manager position, but take over some of the responsibility. The other thing while I'm thinking about is alumni has asked if the city would be willing to donate a Saturday afternoon of alumni, free of charge, so to speak, like we've done in the past. Right now, I've basically told them, looking at 1 to 5, depending on the outcome of where we end up with things. Any objections to that?
No.
We've always done it.
Yeah.
Question?
Is it, you open it for the alumni or you open it for?
Free admission,
everybody?
yeah, free
It's free
admission.
admission. Most of it's gonna be in town, it's gonna be alumni.
Just a clarification, I mean, I really,
I don't think I have anything.
If not, do I hear a motion to accept and file the full
So
report?
moved.
Moved by David, second by Kale, all in favor?
You didn't have anything else to add, did you?
Superintendent report.
Okay, so the transformers I ordered from TNR in October will be here in October, supposedly.
Good night.
I called them the other day. That's where like September, October right now, so I guess it's not wrong. The transformers are hard to get.
Yeah.
I did email Vicki Killingsworth on the property next door with Jensen, and she did send me back an email saying as long as everything's paid in advance, they don't care. So I gotta get ahold of Travis and finish that up. Quick question I have on water taps, when we do the water taps on the meter, are we buying the meter or is the customer? I mean, we pay right now they pay a meter charge or something. But in the case of like Bronxville, that meter charge takes 6 years to pay that meter.
Brock Steel.
Yeah, he's getting another water line put in. And then like on that, where he's already got water, do we charge him for the meter since he's putting in a second water line? The meter's almost $1,000.
Have you ever seen it done in the past?
What's that?
Where somebody put in a second one?
I can't think of any.
Or just built a new house and put it in the meter, do we charge for that?
Well, that was my question, do we charge, I mean, cause the ordinance says parts plus labor plus 20% plus contract. Or contract labor, sorry, I think I already said that. So,
Would there be a reason why we would provide that free of charge?
Not if it takes 6 years to recoup
That's what
our
I'm saying,
expenses.
yeah. That would make good business sense.
I mean, I did talk to Goodland and they charge for everything, so I've tried to add in what possible equipment will be there for how long, when people want an estimate, and it's gonna be roughly $1,500 to have a water tap put in, and that's what I told the guy that wanted an estimate, and he was good with it, but. So, I just wanted to ask you guys, cause I know we do charge meter charge, and we were trying to figure out in the office one day how we.
Or do we treat it the same way as we're looking at the electrical, where we take care of the labor? pay for the parts and everything up front, I don't know.
How's it?
As far as the electrical, as far as the water connection, we'd have to modify the ordinance. Because the ordinance specifically says for water, connection fees, the fees for connection to city water work system shall be as follows: cost of materials plus 20% plus contract labor plus tax.
Yeah, cause those are two different animals. Electrical and plumbing, pipes and.
And they're two different
I think
That's
ordinances.
why I was curious if we'd run into this before, but
Right.
I don't know.
I know like the electrical, we do furnish the meter, but, well, can't think, maybe $400 or $500 is the highest price meter I can think of electrical.
So if meter goes bad, let's say, does the,
I think if the meter goes bad, it's on us. I think we have to, at that point, fix it or repair it or replace it. Unless it's maybe neglect when they pulled all their insulation out and didn't put anything back in there and it freezes.
yeah, I guess that's it then.
I just wanna clarify it through you guys, how you wanted to do it, so.
I think we gotta stick with the way it's written.
So we're charging for the meter then?
You're pretty good at looking those things up on the fly.
Just keep that part there.
Just keep it here. I
Yeah.
know, and paper too. I didn't even have my laptop with me today.
Okay, the other thing is cardboard. I still don't know what we're gonna do with it. Question is, do we keep taking it or do we shut the doors? Cause I'm thinking Bird City shut the doors and they're gonna start hauling stuff here before long. That's what happened last time.
And then what do we do?
They're gonna take it to the landfill.
Landfill won't take it.
They're gonna have
I
to.
have to.
There ain't an option.
Do what now?
There isn't really an option if they don't take it. I mean, it'll have to be sacked just like trash and
Well, wouldn't it be smarter to bundle it like we do now and then take the bundle to the landfill? It's tight shut.
could, but then you're paying for labor that,
Yeah, I know.
do we need to or don't we?
What does an EPA friendly incinerator?
There's no way businesses can
Costs.
box up, bag up all their boxes every day.
No, I don't think that's even feasible.
No way.
But
No.
you've got,
And they're tearing them down right now, you know, or we might have the
I'm just afraid
I'll
we're gonna
ask
run
that,
into
Dan,
Bird
because
City's
full
gonna be
boxes going
bringing
to the
cardboard
landfill
over.
otherwise.
Only ask that because a friend of mine who's mayor of Mesquite, they've run into the same problem, there's 300,000 people. And they purchased obviously on a much larger scale than what we would, but an EPA friendly
Incinerator?
incinerator, because they've run out. Is there one that you could purchase for a community our size or something that is reasonable?
We can look into it, I mean, I've got several emails and requests out for different recycling places, I'm just not getting anything back from them.
Can Bird City still bundle theirs?
They could, but I don't know if they would. And I don't know if the city actually shut it down or Frank shut it down. I didn't know if you knew.
I don't know.
Meetings or.
Cause we shouldn't be taking all their junk if
Mm-mm.
we can't do anything with ours either. So if we have to bundle ours and take it to the dump to pay for it, then they can't be bringing their bundles over here,
Right.
obviously.
I don't know how we're gonna.
I think that's the only
Police
way
and
until we
keep it.
find a place.
On a personal level, I have like a bajillion boxes from my mother-in-law's smoke. Could we wait to make a decision on this? Please?
I'm gonna look the wrong week.
You better go right now.
I know.
what's the situation with the county and the landfill as far as taking cardboard?
I talked to Steve today and he said it may have to be a temporary thing or, you know, they may have to take it.
I just see the concern with having to bag it, yeah, I mean, you look at your mother-in-law and a bunch of boxes, how are you gonna get those in trash bags, you know?
Grocery store,
It's one
Eagle
thing to break it
Restaurant,
down
True Value, Lumberyard, just
I know,
mountains of boxes.
Well, see, I don't know what the grocery store does, they got through a couple.
They do have,
I can tell you what I would do, but I can't tell you what would be recorded, so.
You got a good point though about if you bundle it, you're compressing.
Well, yeah, it's not gonna blow away, it's a
Right.
heavy
Right.
package.
That's the, as for right now, just to,
For now, it works.
Cardboard will break down a lot faster.
Plastic will. You start doing more bonfires?
there you go.
It's alumni weekend,
True.
Yeah.
Bonfire at every intersection in town.
Halloween,
Yeah.
all the fires at every
Just
intersection
like the
again,
old
yeah.
days. Dumpster fires.
This, I don't know if you could burn like out of the old county dump.
Now, right at this time, you could, but in the middle of summer, you maybe wouldn't.
Yeah, that's true too.
Cause it's a, I mean, I think that's an old city dump, isn't it?
It's the old city dump, yeah.
Is that that road goes up by Keller Pond,
Yeah.
going up the highway?
Yeah, yeah.
I wondered about that, cause didn't they open that hole up for the Empire up there? I wonder who we'd have to talk to take stuff up there, if that's what it come down to.
I'm not, be worth checking into it.
Have you heard anything about where Imperial or Ray or those other small communities?
I talked to Imperial, but I haven't called the guy that they told me about, they contracted out.
Never heard from anybody with Dayton. I asked Scott about that today, and he said,
I even sent Dyke email and haven't heard anything.
cause he called him back and left a voicemail, and said.
There was
they
a
were
paper
back.
mill in Wichita, what was that, with Steve,
That
told me
international,
about.
yeah.
International Paper Mill.
Mhm.
I sent a request to them today, but maybe by the end of the week we'll hear something. I just know how long we can keep taking cardboard here if they really are shut down, or
Have you contacted Ray Colorado yet? I heard they have a recycling center there. Utensils.
anyway, I guess food for thought. I guess we'll keep taking it for another 2 weeks and see where we're at, 2 or 3, whatever the next week is.
But it's not a state requirement that we can't take it to the landfill. It was a space issue.
That was a
I
county.
think it'll be, I think we'll have to talk to Byron and I'll get him on board because I'm not sure how well it's said. The only other thing I got is the water control system that we motioned to put in here one way. We haven't seen the guy yet, so I finally got a hold of him the other day. Told him that we did make that motion off of the price he gave me, cause it's like going up every month, you know? I said, if you're gonna raise the price, I'm gonna re-quote everybody, and he said he'll honor the price, so whenever he shows up, that we get it for that price. That's all I have.
You didn't have anything else?
Well, hold on. Oh, the trash truck.
Yes.
I emailed the guy today because he got the check, but he said it was back getting worked on because of a brake issue, so I guess at least they're checking it out.
Nice.
That's all I got.
I hear a motion to accept the file of the superintendent report.
So,
Second.
Moved by Cam, second by Larry, all in favor? Motion passed. Attorney report.
Alright, so there was an email sent by, city attorney, it's kind of my listserv as a city attorney, from municipalities. There has already been with us going into the scope of work season projects, I guess there's been one city who received an email about billing, information being changed. They changed accounts or something for a contractor. It was not a contractor, it was a scammer who kind of spoofed an email address that was similar to that. Just as a heads up for liability for, especially to Leanne and Dan, they have emphasized that in the event you get any information regarding a change in anything to do with billing, you need to contact someone with whom you have already had contact and verify that. It's a liability thing, we were told to discuss this with our cities, so, check. Regarding the damages of the pole, I sent a follow-up letter to the county attorney after the previous meeting to verify that they had, in fact, received that. I did receive a response from Kelly that they do have the damages and our request for restitution as part of that ongoing case. So that has been taken care of. I still have not been able to get in contact with anyone from Fathom for the theater regarding the concerns on choice of law provisions and non-exclusivity. I emailed in response to Leanne's agenda, ordinance 645, 54, 645, whatever the ordinance number is that's on there. It is the modification of the impoundment ordinance. It states that previously we were to be collecting $5 a day. It has revised it to state that it is to be charged at the contracted rate, and that the city will collect at the contracted rate, and that the schedule of rates and fees for the contracted facility shall be available at City Hall in the office to be made available to the public. So rather than setting a price, that way if Judy changes her prices, we don't have to go in and modify the ordinance all over again. Other than that, the first paragraph said animal or fowl, and then the rest of the paragraph just said animal, so I added or fowl to everywhere that said animal.
Do we need to approve it?
Yes, we have a motion to approve. Hang on, sorry,
Ordinance number 645.
yes.
So,
Moved by Gail, second by Dara. David, yes.
Yes.
Gail, yes.
Yes.
Dara, yes. Larry, yes. Alright,
Leanne, will you take care of getting that to the paper for publication?
Yep.
Perfect. I don't have anything. I'm just gonna say it since I already said it about the deputies. Every single citation they write is $158 of court cost. Every single one. They don't do traffic anymore, that goes to district court. Every single one is $158. Why they didn't know that and Jen had to look that up for them on Friday is beyond me. At $83,000 a year that we're paying them, and we have one court cost. I mean, I get it. Is this their first or second? I mean, to be fair, they did write this person the first dog citation. They should know this is their second citation. I don't know why they don't have a way of keeping track of that. So they sent them down here to Jen to get the fee. But even that, or the fine, that's, okay, fine, we have those records here. I can, despite the fact I think they should have record of that, they already have it. $83,000 a year, and we have one court cost. Why they don't know that is absolutely beyond me. It's frustrating, and then it's frustrating as a citizen, and then it's also frustrating as a representative of the city who then a lot of times will deal with that when they come into municipal court. And I mean, I know they have a lot on their plate, and I know they're hardworking, and I know that, you know, they had a really hard time filling it, but for $83,000 a year, they need to know that our court costs are $158. I mean, it's not like it varies. That's the price. So, I just wanted to bring that to council's attention because there was that issue, with Jen. I mean, not with Jen, but there was that issue that Jen was able to resolve, but I don't think she should have to. That's all I have.
Or a motion to accept and file the attorney report.
So,
Moved by Gail, second by Dara, all in favor? Clerk report.
our city code itself, and put it into the application. This was on request for the concert in the park. Is what led to us again revamping it. We just wanted to bring it to the council's attention. If you guys wanted any wording changed, or if you are good with how it is.
I looked at it and thought it looked fine.
I need to compare it to the I mean, I can, if we can circle back around,
Yep,
I can
we can.
compare it to the ordinance.
Also out there is the groundwater management district 4 will be in town at the Cheyenne County Fairgrounds. They are doing an open forum discussion for anyone that has any questions in regards to the status of the aquifer. That is going to be March 30th, this Thursday, from 10 to 12. Just out there for you guys' information. We met with KMIT for the workers' comp. We did our CPR training and first aid training. They also do an evaluation of our overall. We scored a 90%, which gave us our gold star status that we have maintained for many years. So that's just let you guys know. Western State Bank called in regards to the CD that was brought up at the last meeting. It actually ended last Friday. I thought it was through the end of the month or to the first 500 customers, but Troy called me on Tuesday saying that it was ending Friday. So I apologize for not having all the information at the previous meeting for that. There is an updated quote for the underground vaults and storage that we had authorization from council for cleaning up the archive room, the files, and getting rid of the previous ones that we no longer have to hold on records retention anymore. I believe it is the same amount of $35 a tub. They come out twice a month to drop off and then pick up. Jen and I have been discussing it, wanted to know if we still had approval to do it, to get more totes to continue cleaning up.
I don't see.
I think you have to.
I know the county does it, and I think they do it twice a year. End of January, I think. Maybe end of January, first part of February, they get totes brought out for a month, and then I think maybe in July. And so it might be something I can double check. If it's the same company, that way they have one drop, they're dropping at the same time, it might be a little bit,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, because there was an issue with us when we originally got the 3 totes, that the driver came, picked up the totes, but we never got empty totes to keep going. I have reached out to their director, their scheduler, and I'm like, okay, when is your guy in town? And she informed me that it's normally at the first of the month and then at the end of the month, one to pick up, one to drop off. I actually even met with their sales rep while at a conference this past week. And he says that, yeah, it's just, that's the way they do it for the smaller, remote areas.
This is great. Okay. Do you need approval for,
Yes, we would like it for
the totes?
oh, yeah, if you would like.
Your motion to, moved by David, second by Larry, all in circle back to the fireworks application then. Lauren says it looks great, I've looked at it and I thought it looked fine, so do we have a motion to approve the fireworks application?
I got a couple of questions before you do that.
Okay,
And Dan and I've had some conversations about this. I understand it's a group, an organization event. What if it's a non-commercial application? What if you've got permission to use the property? I go back to when, like Roger Neitzel was doing fireworks up here by Park Hill. There was no requirements at that time. I wasn't aware of any requirements that we've had for concert in the park. I understand there's been some discussion about it. I guess I'm a little confused as to why, when we have access to the property that we're using, we have an individual that's not using commercial fireworks. I guess I'm a little concerned about the direction this is headed.
as far as what the ordinance, because this is, I mean, it was pulled from the ordinance.
I understand that, but we didn't get brought up until this year.
I knew I shouldn't have
What
put.
was the, culture? I missed that, I missed it.
The fireworks application that was out there in the shade.
Oh, just to sell them?
No, for a public fireworks display.
Oh.
The ordinance reads as follows. It shall be unlawful for any person to give or provide a fireworks display for the public or for organized groups without first obtaining a permit to do so by making application at least 30 days in advance of the desired display. Approval of the permit shall be by the governing body. No permit shall be approved unless the applicant furnishes a certificate of public liability insurance for the display in a minimum amount of $500,000, written by an insurance carrier licensed to do business in Kansas, conditioned as being non-cancelable except by giving 10 days advance written notice to the advance written notice to the city clerk. In the event of cancellation of the insurance prior to the display, the permit shall automatically be revoked and void. The application for the permit shall clearly state: 1, the name of the applicant. 2, the group for which the display is planned. 3, the location of the display. 4, the date and time of the display. 5, the nature or kind of fireworks to be used. 6, the name of the person, firm, or corporation that will make the actual discharge of the fireworks. 7, anticipated need for police, fire, or other municipal services. Subsection B says no permit shall be issued if the location, nature of the fireworks, or other relevant factor is such to create an undue hazard or risk harm or damage to persons or property.
I didn't get that, could you read that again?
Yes.
No.
So, I'm kidding.
Where's the,
So, I mean, I guess, what is your
let's see.
you're concerned that people, what is the concern with this?
The liability
Shared
insurance.
file, if you go to the actual shared
Yeah.
file. Public fireworks display application.
Oh, it's not. So does someone fill one
I
out?
guess I don't understand where we have permission to use the property. It's not a commercial grade fireworks. It's no different than what Roger Neitzel and they used to do up at Park Hill, and they never had any kind of permission. That went on for several years until they got
So
rid of
who's doing it this year? Wants to?
Roger Neitzel,
Oh,
tying in with concert in the park.
And there's nothing back from when they did it up at Park Hill?
I mean,
I'm meeting with Roger tomorrow night to get some more details and stuff too.
I mean, just off the top of my head, I would hazard that that's a difference between private property and public property. I mean, you're permitted to set off fireworks.
Public property with permission. When you say public property, it's not city property.
The park isn't city property?
It's not where the fireworks are. It's on school property.
I'm sorry, I thought this was in connection with concert in the park.
It is.
he's gonna launch them over here.
He launches
he
it from
launches
the
them.
school.
Non-commercial stuff.
Yeah, it's all non-commercial.
The ordinance this doesn't say anything about non-commercial or
Probably
commercial
not,
though, I mean, it
does
just says fireworks.
Just
It says a
displays.
display for the public or for organized groups. I mean, I don't know that it needs to say, I mean,
I guess what we're curious about is why wasn't this addressed when all the fireworks were going on back in the day?
A lot of things weren't addressed.
Well, and I think about a couple years ago, I think a couple years ago, we went to the fireworks display in Bird City, and it was ginormous.
45 minutes.
And I'm thinking, okay, if there was ever a display that needed a liability insurance, that would have been one, but it competed with some city ones that I've seen, big city ones.
Yeah.
So now, albeit it was out there in the middle where they did the cotton packs, there's not a lot of homes around, but there's still homes around.
Sure, sure.
Um,
I'm not arguing that point.
so,
I mean, but they may have had it.
Bird City would have had that kind of liability on it.
I mean, we can't definitively say
Right,
that they
yeah.
didn't.
They had permission from the city.
So are we just talking about getting permission, or
What does it
is
cost
he
to
worried
get
about
$500,000?
getting more insurance for this?
$500 or better.
For insurance?
What we've seen at this point. I've got to talk to Roger
It's what?
Council some more.
$500.
$500 or better.
Oh, okay,
Which company?
I didn't know.
I don't know. That's why I want to talk to Roger Neitzel some more. He's got some other ideas on things. And he knows what they've done in Bird City too. So I'll know more after tomorrow night. All I want to do is bring up my concerns about it. I understand the liability side of things and everything, but if it's contained, it's no different than people sitting out in the middle of the street shooting stuff off, in my opinion.
Yeah, true.
And you can't tell me that people shooting stuff out in the streets not a public deal as well, because I've seen 40, 50 people.
Would your homeowner's insurance cover you if you were out in front of your house shooting off fireworks and had it?
Lands in somebody else's yard?
Well, 'cause last July we had a fire over here on a house, that burned the siding off, and he was mad. He was gonna come to the council and he was gonna sue everybody. I sat there and talked to him for a good half hour about it.
But they were shooting them off.
Huh? People were driving up in the park, shooting them off and leaving. No idea for sure who it was. But he thought the city should have banned fireworks because it's too dry and everything else, so.
Well, we can sure table it and.
Yeah.
I mean,
See what you can find.
that's what the ordinance says if we're not gonna,
I mean, if that's what the ordinance says, if you're not gonna follow it, we need to repeal the ordinance. I would, as is my job, caution about the liability of the city permitting things to. I understand they're doing it on public property, but if they're doing it for Concert in the Park, which is a city-approved event, which the concert does happen on city property, then, I mean, it's a liability concern for the city. I am sure that is why this is in there, is that in the event something goes wrong, and the city has approved the event, at which an explosion takes place and takes life or limb or irreparable damage to property, then the city may find itself party to a lawsuit.
I do, just FYI, not to stir anything up, but I do know Justin said last year, being there plugged the pool pumps up with fireworks stuff after the concert and party. So that's something we better watch too.
What?
All that cardboard things that they blow apart, got in the pool, got in the pumps, almost plugged the pumps up.
See, and I hadn't heard that from Kelly.
Well, that's because Justin took care of it.
Well, that's neither here nor there, and it doesn't matter. But just from a personal opinion, and we can never do this, I don't think it'll happen, but I would much rather see the independent sales of just the average Joe buying and setting them off. I'd rather see that eliminated and allowing professionals to do a big show. Cause there's more people who've been killed and lost fingers and stuff by these Uncle Joes and Aunt Susies who don't know what they're doing than people who, but at the same time, you're not gonna eliminate that either, so.
Were you here when they used to do everything down at the fairgrounds? Huge, huge.
Of course, once they cut out the fairgrounds, they're out of city limits, it's no longer our city.
Yeah.
Right.
All you have to do is go talk to Bob, the attorney, what's his son?
Yeah.
Not judge.
We'll check into some rates and
Yeah.
stuff and see where it's at and so forth. Like I said, I'm not arguing the situation, it just surprises me that it comes
Sure.
up now.
You know what I'm talking about?
What's the note?
Barons, yes, Barons. Yeah. Thank you. Haven't seen him over there.
Guess we can table it.
I mean,
As far as the format,
as far as,
but we don't need to approve that until we decide we want to repeal the ordinance.
well, I mean, I think that
Pizza's ready.
Pizza, ready?
I mean, I think that we probably,
Hello, this is 2789.
The St. Francis water alarm has detected a
Water alarm.
Where at?
Is it reservoir in the tower?
What happened there?
We're running out of water apparently. It'll call the on-call phone, so.
is this because of that second water meter?
Yeah. Should charge more.
I think what we probably wanna do is approve the application and then approve the application as is, because this is still presently the ordinance. And then we can table it and decide, I mean, obviously, if we repeal the ordinance, the application gets repealed, but while this is still presently the ordinance, I think you probably want to have the application approved.
Okay.
And then if you wanna repeal, you can repeal.
Your motion to approve the fireworks application? Moved by David,
Second.
second by Cale, all in favor?
Nay,
Okay.
not till we know more.
It's been 1 nay by Larry and 3 yeses, so motion approved.
The last thing that I have, I don't have all the information, cause they were supposed to come see me today, I believe, Roxy and Kelly Fruin, in regards to the renewal for the insurance for the city. From what I was informed of from Jen, it looks as though it has gone up. It has increased about $30,000. It is now, for the renewal policy for 4/1 at $109,222.
Is that property insurance?
That is the utility general, the museum, the pool. I don't know what all is covered under it. As I said, they were supposed to come see me.
Probably every building we have, yeah.
Just like everything else.
Yeah.
Would it hurt to get it close?
Probably not. I mean, with the experience we got with Kelly and everything behind us.
Do they usually?
Get other quotes or not? that's what I'm looking at, just need to get basic comparables here.
It has been going around in regards to the EMC insurance company having raised the rates that they have put out. They've informed via the quick link of another provider that we could look into.
Get that information, maybe send it out and maybe reach out to them and see.
Who carries the EMC? Who carries the EMC? That's Kelly, right?
Nigel Insurance.
It's through NISO insurance.
Yeah, Kelly and Rosie.
We can always look, doesn't mean we have to change it.
What's the county using, I believe, K1 still?
I think so. There's nothing else, we'll hear a motion to accept and file the clerk report. Moved by Gail, second by Dara, all in favor? Council comments, David?
Nothing we have to do tonight, but as we come to the end of the contract on this, trash contract that we have, and we're gonna look maybe to go, we should say for now, another direction. If we do that, we need to probably talk about compensation, raising at that point, because we had time before, and I don't wanna have to run that same scenario, we were pulling teeth to try to find good people. That's it.
I have to agree with you on that, Harvard. What else? I had something I forgot. So never mind.
Alright, Dara? Not now. Larry? I don't have anything other than I will call 5 minutes of executive session for attorney-client privilege communication, to resume the regular meeting at 8:50 with everybody. Moved by me, second by Gail, all in favor?
College Street got worse. I've had 3 people this last month come up complaining to me about College Street.
Which part?
There's
I mean,
There's a
but they're
couple
talking about-
spots.
they're talking about there's potholes coming up over, and I guess I just don't
Notice
notice
over
it.
there right now, basically. Snow and the melting and the heat.
Yeah.
and-
I guess I just haven't noticed.
Yeah,
There's some potholes
We need
here
to
and there,
say we came out and no decisions
Oh,
were
yeah,
made.
came out of executive session, no decisions were made.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn, Gail?
He's out.
Wait, Kel.
Dara, second?
Okay.
Mary Beth.